That's a great listener, and we're unclear whether his brewery will be open or closed. It all depends on the king of hair, Phil Murphy. Dan, how would you like to be sitting there, your life's work, your dream?
And Phil Murphy says, thumbs up or thumbs down. I can see him. Mrs. Kim could do a Caesar cut where it all comes toward the front.
It's a gladiator.
Yeah, and he could be sitting there, like who's it? Joaquin Phoenix making the determination. But first, you got to give credit to these Democrats out there in Chester County. Ryan, the Ryan woman, the alleged DA out there, tweeted out instantly that he was caught and the good guys won. Who are the good guys, DA Ryan? Are you one of the good guys? So, Danny, here's what they're going to do. They're going to hold town halls on this, on everything that happened. But you know what the point of emphasis of the town halls? Counseling. They're saying the nightmare's over. Everybody can breathe a sigh of relief. These progressives out in Chester County are right out of the book. We don't want, at least I'll speak for myself, counseling. Tell me about it. What was it like knowing this maniac was out? Delaware Valley Journal is the only one reporting it. The press release says this: following the successful conclusion of the search for this escapee, the Chester County Commissioners will hold town hall meetings for Chester County residents to provide information on security enhancements at Chester County Prison, explain the emergency communications process, and offer counseling services for those who have experienced emotional stress related to the escape incident. These will be held at the elementary school out there in Westchester Monday evening, September 18th, and Wednesday evening, September 20th.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
Yes. They say the nightmare of the past 2 weeks may have concluded, but there are many questions we know residents have. These town hall events will give an update and a chance to listen and answer questions and counseling. Counseling after they come up with this. All right, so here's your opportunity on the 18th and the 20th. And I'm looking at Delaware Valley Journal. Any number of people that are readers, that's where I write, of Delaware Valley Journal, they at least are saying, I think the right thing. They want to get to the bottom of this. A guy named Rich Highland says, though, thanks to all those who worked tirelessly to bring the search to an end. As for the escape, it's time for a professional debrief and analysis of systems. That should be done in a nonpartisan fashion. Oh, stop it already, buddy, with your nonpartisan fashion. I'm not nonpartisan on this. This exposes how they think. Now, Guy Shiraki's got a great column up at Broad and Liberty. And one of the biggest questions he asked is, would they prosecute someone again who's here illegally? Would they deport him when the initial calls came in that he was beating up his girlfriend? If Deb Ryan, the DA there, Dan, had told ICE, he would have been out of circulation and deported at that point for attacking the girlfriend. The girlfriend would have been alive. Chester County wouldn't have been upset by all this. All she had to do was follow the law. So I would just like to know from Deb Ryan, why didn't they call ICE when the girlfriend reported, A, that he was beating her up, and B, that he was wanted for murder in Brazil? The girlfriend found out. Why couldn't they? So what is going to happen in Chester County now? You see where they're going, counseling sessions, as if this was some random, it was like a hurricane. Nobody had anything to do with anything. Yesterday on the show, if you missed it, Bunny Welsh, the former sheriff.
Welcome in, Dom, to your therapy session for what just happened. Rather than take accountability for what we did, we're going to give you counseling.
And the media is nowhere to be found. They're still celebrating from yesterday. Now, I'm on Inside Story tomorrow. We tape it on Fridays, Dan. I predict this might be a stormy session if I start up along these lines, which I will. Of all these unanswered questions that are there, that are amazing. And I can't, again, did you happen to notice the dog Yoda is from the Border Patrol, telling us what the Border Patrol would do if we would let them? But of course, we won't. Yoda had to come here to get somebody. But Bunny Welsh was on the show yesterday, former sheriff. She said they had 8 prize-winning dogs when she was there, and they got rid of almost all of them to get even with her. That's why they didn't have dogs out there sniffing right away once this guy...
Jim, pull that, please.
got out. So there we go again. All right, so where will Chester County go? I hate to say it. The election's right around the corner. Wouldn't this would be something you would vote on? Isn't this a tell to the soccer moms out there? The soccer moms, we told you yesterday, were lining up, buying guns at the local gun store. They had to give them lessons. They didn't know what they were doing. Why were they buying guns? Who let them down? An act of God? Do the soccer moms need the gun, or do they need counseling?
You know what should be said at the counseling session? Let's learn from this moving forward, and let's vote out Democrats.
Exactly. And let's get more weapons in your house. All right. So we got all that going on. But let's start. Before I get to King Phil Murphy, let's go to, where is she? Randy Weingarten here. Yeah, cut 13. Randy Weingarten compares parents to uptown clans, a new word. It's like they're members of the Klan, but they're uptown, whatever that means. I must be a New York expression, Randy. We don't use uptown and downtown here.
Is that a Billy Joel?
Yeah, uptown girl, Randy Weingarten. She's on with the Power at Work podcast. Sounds like a socialist outfit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Uptown clans.
Right, I had to.
Billy Joel, come on, Billy. You haven't had a hit in a while. Let's go uptown clans. All right, listen to Weingarten. If you're a parent going to school board meetings, if you're concerned with what's going on in the libraries, the transgender nonsense in sports, the whole thing, you're like the Klan. She's the face, not the Pringle woman of America. This is what the unions think of you as a parent. This is what they truly think. You're an uptown Klan member.
Can't get enough of you calling her the Pringle woman still.
Yeah, make sure you wash your sheets if you're going to be parading out. Here's Randy Weingarten.
The same kind of roots that happen in the aftermath of Brown v. Board. Those same words that you heard in terms of wanting segregation post Brown v. Board of Education, those same words you hear today. It's not, I was kind of gobsmacked when I was talking to Southern Poverty Law Center.
Oh, Southern Poverty Law Center.
They showed me the same words: choice, parental rights, and attempt to divide parents versus teachers. And that point, it was white parents versus other parents. But it's the same kind of words. But the goal is, if you listen to DeVos, if you listen to a Christopher Rufo, if you listen to the guy Ferris, who has brought a lot of these cases, some alliance that it's called that has democracy and freedom in the words. If you listen to them, what they really want is the end of public education as we know it.
Oh.
Well, guess what? I don't want the end of public education as we know it, Randy. Continue. If you want to have kids and they're too dopey and can't do anything about it, stay in the big city schools in Philadelphia. Okay. I just want people who are smart but may not have a lot of money to be able to get out of that. Now we're the uptown Klan. She can't get out of her own way. They can't stop themselves. They just reek of how they feel. And where are Republicans? Why are they not pouncing on this stuff? This is the issue that gets persuadable people to be persuaded. I think the best thing of the last 24 hours, though, is Nancy Pelosi. This is like Judas. No, not Judas. Why am I saying it's Peter? I guess my biblical denying Christ 3 times. Okay, here is Pelosi. By Anderson Cooper, of all people, asked, well, don't you think Harris should remain the VP? Kamala Harris would be fine if Joe Biden dies.
President Kamala Harris the best running mate for this president?
He thinks so, and that's what matters. And by the way,
think so?
She's very politically astute. I don't think people give her enough credit She's, of course, values-based, consistent with the president's values and the rest. And people don't understand, she's politically astute. Why would she be vice president if she were not? But when she was running for attorney general in California, she had 6% in the polls. 6% in the polls. And she politically astutely made her case about why she would be good, did her politics, and became attorney general. So people shouldn't underestimate what Kamala Harris brings to the table.
Do you think she is the best running mate?
She's the vice president of the United States. And people say to me,
Answer
well,
the
why
question,
isn't she
Nancy.
doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much. You're a source of strength, inspiration, intellectual resource, and the rest. I think she's represented our country very well at home and abroad.
All right. So they're out there, the mob, trying to back up Kamala Harris. Now, I have to tell you, Kamala Harris surprises me. And I didn't pay that close of attention to her over the years. What I saw her as ruthless, both personally, professionally, hooking up with anybody, so to speak, Willie Brown, to advance. I didn't see how inarticulate, how vacuous she was, though. It's incredible. So they're trying to argue, here we go again, there's nothing wrong with Kamala Harris, even though Nancy Pelosi wouldn't say she's the best choice for vice president. And they're trying to say it's racism and sexism. That's all that it is. Versus every time we see her, she comes across as a dope. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Every time America sees it, that's what it's about. So is it just America is not ready for someone that good? Even though Nancy Pelosi didn't say, yeah, she's the best choice for vice president. It was astounding. 3 times in a minute with Anderson Cooper even. Somebody else pressing her more and saying, well, you got to answer this. She is the best, right? Yes or no? You got to give us something here. All right, let me give you the side question, too. Then we'll take your calls at 855-839-1210. If you saw it this week, there was another Kennedy conspiracy thing, a new book out. Gerald Posner is with us. I've had him on over the years. He wrote the definitive book, Dan, Mr. Conspiracy, about Kennedy, the Kennedy assassination, saying, no, Lee Harvey Oswald did it. But he's also now onto the transgendered issue, wanting to know why we're becoming like these countries that are repressive when it comes to parents and that, and these anti-puberty blockers. We happen to see, though, today is National School Picture Day, right? So one of my favorite sayings is, don't take a picture with that Dan Borowski. You won't look good.
I am a sexy individual, Dom.
You will not look good after taking that picture alongside that. So who is it?
Well, thank you.
And you may have
You're
a
very
picture.
photogenic yourself, too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You may have a picture with somebody. That would be a fun call if you do, famous, that is photogenic. And you say, yeah, don't take a picture with that person. You won't look good no matter what you've done. All right, mine is, and I don't know if I have the picture. I have 2. Gavin Newsom. Don't take a picture with him. You're not going to look good.
Yeah, his hair is always perfect.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I can match the hair. He's about 6'3". He's perfectly tailored. The skin, you can see that.
Yeah, well, let me
rosiness.
ask you a question. There's no doubt in my mind that Gavin Newsom wears makeup from time to time.
I think it was makeup, though.
So
I got to say.
Men wearing makeup, where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah?
So off the record,
Well,
yes.
hold on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this way. Men wearing makeup, but not on TV.
I'm still fine with it, depending
Really?
upon the occasion.
Okay,
I wouldn't wear it day to day, but for a photo thing,
Yeah?
I think a little bit of makeup's necessary.
Yeah, like a public event. I get that.
Well, if you asked me in the summertime, I'd say no, because
Yeah.
I have the tan going on, so I don't need it in the summertime.
No makeup for our broadcast, though. Dom show every day.
We're not supposed to be in the budget as this increases. The other one, and I haven't taken a photo with him, you did, I think, is Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, he's not big, so that's an advantage, but his teeth are too white. I don't like the over white teeth thing.
Yeah, I did not take a picture with him. Very nice guy, though. Very down to earth.
How would you think
was
he would
wearing
look
just, like,
in a
ripped
picture?
jeans and very good. I mean,
Yeah.
very photogenic.
Yeah, he strikes me as he is. All right,
Okay.
who's yours? Don't take a picture with him.
David Hasselhoff. One of the, so
Yeah.
I had it drilled in me very early when I was a Stern intern that we're here for work, not for pleasure.
Right.
So unless a picture is offered by the celebrity, don't like go digging for a picture.
Right.
So I had a lot of opportunities to take pictures with very photogenic individuals, but I don't have photos with them because, I wasn't allowed to ask, and it kind of drilled into me. And since then I haven't. So no, I don't have a picture of Vivek. But one day I spent with David Hasselhoff, and I'm a very tall individual. I had no idea that Hasselhoff was almost my height.
I didn't know that.
And
yeah.
with the plastic surgery the guy has and all that, you don't want to take a picture with the guy. He is, even at this age, even after all the rough times he's been through, he's still a very photogenic individual.
I would say Jane Seymour. I took a picture with her. 100 people did. It was at Andy's Diner in the middle of December on a rainy, grungy, cold day.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked like she stepped out of Hollywood, and it didn't look unnatural to me at all.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful, nice woman. Yeah.
Don't
take a picture with her.
Was that the same day you had Kato Kalin, too?
No, that was at another diner.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we almost had to drag him at it. I couldn't hit the bleep button off.
Another very photogenic individual, though.
Yeah, the hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a Kato Kalin at a diner. All right, it's 855-839-1210. And if you've taken a picture with a famous photogenic individual, work that in. Let us know. I bet you we have hundreds of people that have taken those photos. Who is it? You're risking everything. Who's that guy next to Borowski? Who's that guy? By the way, there are people, I will not name names, Dan, that it's good to take a photo with because they're a lot smaller and, person than they look like on TV, et cetera.
I'm going to see if I can find this picture, but another I'm going to take off the board. I was with him for an interview one day at an old station, Eric Estrada. Like that guy just looks at a camera and it breaks.
He looks like he would.
Yeah.
Mitt Romney, I got to say it, even though he's anathema every other way, Mitt Romney looks very good in person. All right, it's 855-839-1210. We're coming to your calls next on Talk Radio 1210. All right, National School Photograph Day. Who is it? It's a bad idea to take a photo with. You're just not going to look. Some of these people look like they're from another planet.
Is it that far into the school year already that kids are getting their school pictures taken?
I would say when I used to have to do it was brutal doing that. It's
Right?
the
I can imagine.
second or third week.
Like, I'm sorry to all the teachers out there that have
Yeah.
to line these kids up and get them to
Oh,
sit still.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Yes. They don't want to do it, the whole thing, too. All right.
Yeah.
So hit us with that. That's the side question at the end of your call. We played you Randy Weingarten now trotting out Uptown Klan. And I'll play you in a moment the head of the Chicago Teachers Union. I would say they are the most thuggish of all the unions out there. That's quite a praiseworthy comment. Her kid goes to a private school, though. And how can she justify that? How can they justify having her as the head of their union if she sends her kid to a private school? They do this repeatedly. All right, let's go to Gene in Elkins Park. Gene's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Gene. Hi. Hi.
My comments, you are fantastic. You have a great work ethic. Thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you, Gene. Thanks very much. Now,
Sounds like he's
wait
gonna
a
insult
minute,
you now, though.
Gene.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Don't let your head get too big.
No, but clip that, Dan, when I go home. And Rose says, so you talk 3 hours a day, put out the trash.
Now comes the negative, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, why should you be different than anybody else, Tom?
Well,
Yeah?
because I have such a work ethic. Look, I'm exhausted, bro. Thank you, Gene.
Anyway, Randy Weingarten. First of all, you have to understand that these progressives, Marxists, they project a lot. Everything is projection. So they're calling you a name. That's what they are. And she should know, as my comment originally was, she knows all about the KKK because the Democrat Party is the party of the KKK.
Yeah, they were Democrats,
So
without a doubt.
I think she's an expert.
Without a doubt, Gene. Thank you. Thanks very much for starting us off with that great call. Yeah, I'm looking at a photo someone put up alongside this. It's a 1926 Klan parade down the main street in Washington. All right. So, yeah, it's the Democrat Party. Margaret Sanger, the eugenicist, lionized by Planned Parenthood and by Democrats for years. They've had to move away a little bit. Yeah, he's exactly right. But in the middle of this, and again, Republicans are not doing a good job. I think that's where a lot of persuadable people are. They're not liking what they hear about. They don't have. They're not the mainstay of their kids. It's the experts. It's the teachers union and all that stuff. They're persuadable on this issue. You just got to move it to the fore more. Go after Randy Weingarten more. Debate her if she'll debate any of these people. All right, 855-839-1210. Pete in Habertown's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Dom. Hey, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention, especially the 6 soccer moms
Yes.
that were waiting at the firearms store for it to open so they could buy firearms. In the democratic world, all right, they could purchase the firearm on a Monday, but they would be told you can't pick it up until Friday because we have a 3 or a 5 or a 7-day waiting period.
Well, that is a great point. And remember, the guy that shot at what's the name had 7 shots at Cavalcante, missed him apparently. In a Democrat world, you only get 5 shots, so you better be pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. And imagine one of the soccer moms discusses with her husband, honey, you pick up this shotgun and get this pistol for me. And the firearm store owner says, I can only sell you 1 item per person per month.
Yep, exactly
so
right.
Your husband has to come to the store if he wants to buy a pistol, and I can only sell him 1 firearm per month per person.
Gotcha, Pete. Thanks very much. Well, look, the commissars out there in Chester County, Dan's been inviting all these people on ad nauseum. They know the ticket. They're holding counseling sessions on the 18th and the 20th of September out there at the elementary school nearby the prison. Counseling sessions. The media, I haven't seen one article today digging into what this station has been talking about, from Nick, Dawn, me, and Rich, bringing angles to this of why this didn't have to happen. The biggest. You would think, Deb Ryan, you run as a feminist, right? You're a female district attorney. You want to be a judge. When they come to you, and we know this guy was pounding this woman before he stabbed her to death with the very knife he had at the barbecue, why didn't you deport him? Why didn't you tell ICE about this? Clear violation of this violence. If she is afraid to press charges, at least you would have been able to deport him. Now, I'm not going to, by the way, I wouldn't deport him back to Brazil now. I think their laws are too lenient. Who knows what he'd get? Who knows how their security? He'd be back here in Chester County within a year. It was a pretty interesting outfit, Dan. Not the Eagle stuff. Did you see the outfit they had him in? I've never seen anything like it. It looked like what you're forced to wear in a doctor's examining room or something. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but where he is. But Deb Ryan, our nightmare is over. The good guys won. And is Josh Shapiro overplaying his hand? That's I'm on Inside Story this week. Tomorrow when we tape, Dan, I'm going to throw that out there in that kind of manner. In other words, is he a little bit too cutesy even for Josh Shapiro? Did he go overboard yesterday? As he always does, but now it's a little bit more telling. I predict sometime tonight, Dan, at halftime or something, let's go to Josh Shapiro. He's found that person who lost their Eagles jersey, and he's giving them a Kelly Green one. I bet he's trying to do that tonight. By the way, I heard on our sister station, WIP, Dan, Roger Goodell is being interviewed tonight at 7 o'clock.
Ooh.
Yeah, what would you ask Roger Goodell? Where do we start? My God. And they want the union wants all grass fields now with the injury to Aaron Rodgers. All right, coming up, special guest, though. Gerald Posner is one of the most bulldog researchers, investigators imaginable. He's coming up because this week now we had one of the guys that was on the vehicle when Kennedy was shot. His name is Landis. Come out with a new detail about this that some were saying says, no, it was more than one shooter. Posner, I don't think, does. But he has also taken up an investigation on the whole transgender issues. And he'll be here to talk about puberty blockers. He's a big opponent. And he tweeted out, Sweden has a list of parents where if you don't do the right thing, you're in trouble there as far as the transgender thing, if that's what your kid wants to do. And he said, I never thought the United States would go that way. So this guy's a real triple threat. And if you're ever in Dallas, you got to go to the Kennedy Museum overlooking Dealey Plaza. It is one of a kind. You can stand right there where Lee Harvey Oswald sat. They have plexiglass. You can see it. It's the closest I've been to any event in history of major significance that I can think of. It's incredible. Now they won't let you sit in the chair, though. You got to stand behind the plexiglass.
Well, will they allow us in? I mean, is the Kennedy Museum the same thing as the Kennedy Library?
No. You're allowed in.
Okay.
Oh,
no,
sure.
I just mean as a conservative because they seem to hate us.
Oh, no. They don't care about anything. It's Dallas. It's Texas. That you just pay and you come in. They actually have it down to miniature. A whole floor of every aspect of Dealey Plaza, from the airport to Dealey Plaza, takes up a whole floor of I don't even know if I could throw a football that far. All right, 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Gerald Posner next on Talk Radio 1210. But first, the NFL season is here, and now's the time to get incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers, you can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, plus all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now, I really like the FanDuel app. It's easy to use. You can bet on everything, spreads, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/Dom. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel Sportsbook, official partner of 1210 WPHT, and FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. NFL Sunday ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off the NFL Sunday ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account. Current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime. Tom Giordano's show, big issues, big guest. And I got something coming up in a moment with the county commissioners out in Chester County. Thanks to Jim rushing that in here. But I don't know who I would put up there with Gerald Posner as an investigator, particularly on things that nobody else can handle. He's now doing stuff. I mentioned a Wall Street Journal article he published recently about puberty blockers that had some impact. But I wanted to talk with him because this week we saw not one, but two people connected with the Kennedy assassination. One was on the running board of the vehicle when President Kennedy was shot. The other was a nurse at the hospital there in Dallas around a bullet. Gerald is in my camp, and I believe he always will be, that it was Lee Harvey Oswald. Let's go to Gerald Posner on Talk Radio 1210. Gerald, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Dom, great to be with you.
Of course, the book, Case Closed. I used to carry it around whenever this stuff, because I think the Kennedy assassination is what started the widespread conspiracy stuff, that in the internet, talk radio, et cetera. But that became the go-to. I wonder if you agree.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I mean, that was the sort of the mother lode of conspiracy theories. And, it happened at a time in '63. It's the first one we had on film. All right, we're used to now something terrible happens and 100 people have video cell phones of it. Then it was completely new. The guy arrested as the assassin, Oswald, killed 2 days later by a fellow who looks like he's out of central casting, for a mafia movie. So you're often running on conspiracy. And then after that, we had Vietnam, we had Watergate, we had the lies over Iran-Contra. People lost faith in government. But I agree with you, the Kennedy assassination was sort of the start of it. And it still holds on 60 years later. You still have people who debate it, even those who weren't alive at the time, still interested in the case and saying, I think it's a conspiracy or I think it's not.
Well, when I went to Dallas for another matter, I had to go where the museum is. And I told myself, don't do it. I was debating a crackpot as we filmed it in Dealey Plaza, who was running his material with a car battery, so it's irresistible.
Yeah.
So this week we had Landis, the Secret Service agent, then a nurse who was there in Parkland. And give me your sense of where we are now. His book, I think, is out in October.
Right. So, look at, first of all, I'm always skeptical immediately of 60-year-old memories. We have trouble remembering 5 years later, 10 years later, what we're doing. So I think Landis's account has to be taken seriously. He was an agent, as you said, on the running board of the car right behind the president. He was there that day. And although he gave 2 contemporaneous statements, 9 single typewritten pages about what happened and never mentioned the bullet, that doesn't mean he couldn't be hiding that fact. So what I'm trying to do, and what I've tried to do since he went public in the New York Times, is figure out what could be true versus what's contradicted as an embellishment or an implanted memory after all these years that's contradicted by the other eyewitnesses there. So what is clear is if Landis did pick up a bullet that day, he did not end up putting it on JFK's stretcher. All of the doctors, nurses, and Mrs. Kennedy were in the room at the time. No one even puts him in that room. No one sees him lean over and put it next to the president's foot as he says he did. And in addition, there was never any time in which he, when he describes all of this, could have done anything other than to put it on an empty stretcher as they were leaving the hospital and about to fly back to Washington. So Landis, in my view, if he's telling the truth at all, confirms the single bullet because he ends up now explaining how it got onto an empty gurney at Parkland as opposed to just popping out of the governor's leg during surgery and later getting rolled down into that hallway. It's a different story than any of us expected, but it could make sense. The nurse who's been cited as confirming that Landis put it on JFK's, he actually gave a statement 10 years ago, so 50 years after the assassination, Dom, in which she said she saw the glint of a bullet near JFK's head while he was on the stretcher. So not near the feet, where Landis says he puts it. It's up near the head now. The bullet's moving around on the stretcher. And in addition, she's the only one in the entire room of all the doctors and nurses there who see anything like that. I just don't think that 50-year-old memory is right. And in any case, it contradicts what Landis says.
Now, my only connection other than your book to this, as I said, I went to the Kennedy Museum and like, a lot of people, I'm fascinated by all this. And I stood where Oswald shot from. And given his abilities and given that vantage point, if you stand there and see it, I think you don't think it's preposterous that Oswald was able to do it.
No, as a matter of fact, not at all. I'm surprised often at how many times people will say to me, I just wasn't sure about whether Oswald could make those shots or anybody could do it until I went to Dealey Plaza.
Yes.
Until I went to the 6th floor of the depository and stood there. It's so much smaller than I thought. People say that about football stadiums or baseball stadiums sometimes if they've never been to a sporting event. It doesn't look as big as it seems on TV where it looks like it's half a mile wide. Events often seem that way. And at Dealey Plaza, it's a confined little space at the farthest point when Oswald's making the headshot, which is the president's as far away as he could be. It's only looks like 25 yards in Oswald's scope. It's a straight on shot. And the driver of the car is making a big mistake, the Secret Service agent. He's not taking any evasive action. He's not moving around. The car's going about 5 or 6 miles an hour in a straight line. Kennedy is in a back brace. We often forget about that. So he doesn't fall over in the seat from the wound he has on the second shot. And Oswald gets the straight on shot through the scope. and he almost misses an inch and a quarter higher. He hits him in the right high rear portion of the head and then blows out the front of the head. But an inch and a quarter higher, inch and a half higher, he'd miss entirely, and Kennedy would be alive. And we all know that there's a luck element. We hate to say that in assassinations. Hinckley, if his bullet was an inch over on Reagan, would have killed Reagan. But instead, Reagan gets wounded in that assassination. Sometimes the difference between life and death with an assassin can literally be just a matter of inches.
Without a doubt. So beautifully explained. And then I see recently your name pop up in the middle of the puberty blockers, and you tweeted out the other day, Gerald, when I learned that Sweden's main gender clinic for kids 17 and under had an online pre-printed template to report resistant parents so the government could take custody and let a child transition. I thought it would never happen in the U.S. Pending laws in California, Oregon, and New Jersey might change that. So why have you started to investigate this?
You know, I had originally come up on this subject when I was doing my book on the drug industry, my last book published in 2020 called Pharma. I'd talked to a nurse who talked to me about off-label prescribing of drugs, where the FDA allows doctors to prescribe a drug for a purpose for which it wasn't approved. And in this case, it was puberty blockers for minors. And I had a small section in the book about that, and then it got cut in an eventual draft. Since then, it has continued to get worse over a period of time, worse in terms of this progressive movement to say that minors, children 18 and under, should be able to have the final say in diagnosing themselves about whether they have a syndrome, a disorder that's listed in the psychiatric manual as gender dysphoria, and that doctors, nurses, school counselors, and everybody else that they go to must affirm that diagnosis. You can't contest it with the child who's 12 or 13 and say, by the way, you may just be going through a transient phase. You might just be passing through a phase of adolescence. That's why we don't let you get tattoos or make permanent decisions at this age, because you can't appreciate long-term risk. But when they come in and say, I think I'm another sex, I'm another gender, these counselors and professionals are told not only to affirm it, but to allow them to use their new pronouns, the names that they want, to dress in the name of the other sex. And we know from studies that that leads them into the medical pipeline of either hormone blockers to block the puberty of their natural birth sex, or cross-sex hormones, in which boys take testosterone and girls take, boys take estrogen and girls take testosterone. And then they're on the road to trying to transition. It's to be a national disgrace when it comes to minors that we are allowing this to take place and trying to exclude parents, but it is playing out in some states.
Without a doubt. What are you working on now? What's the current investigation?
I have moved around from finally getting blocked on trying to follow Jeffrey Epstein's money from banks offshore to intelligence agencies. I'm still looking at gender questions and the medical industry and the emerging gender industry, as I call it. And also had a project that's currently on hold about the politics of cancer. You might remember that decades ago, somebody had done a book about that. And, cancer care, my wife had breast cancer a year ago. It can save your life, but it's an industry as well. And the politics of cancer is really rather remarkable.
Unbelievable. Is there a website to find you?
Yes, it's just my last name, Posner, POSNER.com. I also have a Substack where I write regularly about pieces. I just recently wrote my initial thoughts on the Paul Landis story. I write about gender there and other issues that are up. You'll sort of get an idea of where I'm going, and that's called Just the Facts. That's the name of my Substack, Just the Facts by Gerald Posner.
Got to get that, Gerald. Thank you. Please come back whenever you wish. Thank you very much, as always.
Dom, thanks so much. Keep up the great work yourself.
Gerald Posner here, Dan. And again, I don't know, Dan, he said people your age that don't have living memory of Kennedy are interested in it. Are you a single bullet or Lee Harvey Oswald doing it, or no?
Sorry about that. I'm a man on the hill kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you should go to Dallas. I'm telling you that means when you stand there, the plexiglass, he's right. Dealey Plaza is like a little square. It's not this big giant highway. it's so obvious how Oswald would be able to do that.
It's a great point that it's really the basis of all conspiracy theorists.
It's where it started.
And so
2,000 books about it at this point.
you asked, does the younger generation care? I think the younger people that care about conspiracies definitely still care about John F. Kennedy.
Mhm.
11/22/63, want to plug it? You like the series? I like the
Oh, yeah,
series.
yeah,
Stephen
definitely.
King, a retelling of
Stopping Lee Harvey Oswald. Yes.
Yeah, go check that out. But like everything, this was like when everything about the elite, the establishment, was kind of blasted into the forefront, and ever since then, it's kind of built upon the JFK assassination. Exposing it to a degree.
All right, so 855-839-1210. Now, let's get our first here. Somebody photogenic, famous. Don't take a picture with them. You won't look good. Today's National School Picture Day. What's the worst picture? I guess driver's license are pretty bad. A mugshot. That's probably going to be
Yeah,
your worst
mugshots,
picture.
yeah.
The mugshot, yeah. The passport, I kind of like my picture in the
Oh, mine's
passport.
terrible.
Yeah, so it depends. And this year is the 60th anniversary of JFK. Wow. All right, 855-839-1210. You get in here on Talk Radio 1210. Let's talk about Dr. Bentz for a moment. Oh, my dentist. You've heard me talk about my friend, board-certified prosthodontist and my dentist, Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Dental Group in East Norriton. Dr. Bentz is nationally, locally recognized as one of the area's top prosthodontists. Stopped in to see him, and he showed me that the 3D printers, Dom, are still going great, and he's fine-tuned them even more. These are the 3D printers that actually make your teeth. What they allow him to do, the new angle that we've talked with him about, they help him expand his patient solutions. He can offer you more solutions and specialize. Yeah, we haven't heard that in a while. In new ways to help you achieve your own goals. So now more than ever, local dentists know his skill and artistry and the infrastructure he has there. They refer their patients to him for more complex cases. That's a great recommendation. And then there's me, my dentist, Dr. Bentz. Call Dr. Bentz at 610-272-6949. Do that now. Make that appointment. Get that initial evaluation. Check him out. He'll check you out. Yeah, tell him I said, let him see the 3D printer. We need a name for the 3D printers, Dr. Bentz. I think there's two of them. Yeah, so
You do not name robots.
how
Tom.
about
Come
Yoda?
on.
How about Yoda?
That's how you get sentience.
I should be the voice of them, like an AI thing of the 3D. Step in now, sit down. 610-272-6949. My good friend and dentist, Dr. Bentz. It is Dom time. Welcome in, everyone. And Dan Borowski thinks the host of this show
Yeah,
has
come on,
committed
man.
a
Throw the flag.
violation. A violation.
If I had a whistle, I'd be blowing it right now.
Okay.
Because on Twitter, Dom, who was it that tweeted that?
Guy
Cherokee.
Yes.
Guy Cherokee over here. He's
Yeah.
tweeting out a picture of you. What was it, New Jersey Man cover or something like that?
Yes, that's the Jersey Man cover.
Yeah, it's a great picture of you, but saying that you're photogenic, which is a very nice compliment. But for you that then retweet it on your own page, Dom, I don't know. It's a little,
I
full of
did it
yourself
for a
there,
reason.
Dom.
I
Yeah?
did it for a reason because that's the greatest photo I'll ever have.
Okay.
Because those guys took like 50 photos and then they just touched the hair enough to have the coloring beyond belief. They just made the coloring in the face.
The lighting's perfect.
The lighting's perfect. And they took about 3 or 4 pounds out of my face, I think. So,
At Dom
yes.
Show 1210 to check out that picture.
Yeah.
But Dom, I don't know. Callers weigh in. Is that okay to retweet?
Of course it
you
is.
getting a compliment like that?
That's
It's-
the all-time best photo I could
I don't
take.
know. Like if you're just looking at it on Twitter, though, it looks like you might have, put this question out there today, hoping to get somebody to tweet back a picture so you can retweet it about yourself.
Thank you, Guy Cherokee. He'll be coming up to talk photogenic
Oh,
stuff,
man,
too,
that's
in
great.
addition to Chester County. All right. Coming up, all this stuff about pictures when you take a picture with someone, that's what we're looking for, particularly if you did one. Phil Murphy did something, taking a picture with the governor of New York that I approve of. He's being mocked for. We'll play you Murphy, though, for what he really should be mocked for. These small breweries, one of which were partial to Lunacy Brewing, may be closing, and Phil Murphy has the life or death over that. Philadelphia City Council, Dan, I haven't seen if they voted it yet, is poised to say no to so-called supervised injection sites. 9 out of 10 districts, there are 10 councilmatic districts, are on board. The one radical out in West Philly is not. She wants people to shoot up out there, apparently. All right, we'll get to all that in a big 1 o'clock hour coming up on Talk Radio 1210.